It's pretty amazing how a single promise, one made when you're just a kid, can actually end up changing history for a whole city. Today, we're going to dive into the incredible true story of Westley Wallace Law, a man whose quiet determination led one of the most successful and most disciplined campaigns of the entire civil rights movement. So let's see how it all got started. Okay, so our story starts right here. Picture this: Savannah, Georgia, back in 1932. A young boy named Westley Wallace Law is in his grandmother's kitchen, probably just soaking in the amazing smell of biscuits baking. It's a warm, comfortable scene, right? But it's happening against the really harsh backdrop of the segregated South.
For young Westley, Thursday was everything. It was the one day of the week his mother had off from her job working for a white family. Cooking, cleaning, and taking care of their kids. And he felt lucky to see her even just that one day a week. And that feeling, it was really shaped by hearing stories from older men who'd actually been born into slavery and had been separated from their mothers forever. It was in this world that a simple, yearly tradition would become the spark for a mission that would last his entire life, an experience that would plant the seed of a powerful promise.
So this once-a-year trip to Levy's department store on Broughton Street, this was a huge deal, a real treat. It was a moment of pride for Westley and his grandmother to go pick out one new, nice outfit for Easter. But this year, this trip was going to be very, very different. The injustice of it all was just so simple, but so crushing. Westley stood there and watched as a saleswoman served every single white customer first, calling them all politely, Miss and Mrs. But when she finally got to his grandmother, this proud, dignified woman, she treated her like a child, like a nobody. And his grandmother, full of grace, just said, "Come on, it's time to go home." And they left. They didn't buy a thing. And you have to understand, that experience at Levy's, that wasn't just a one-off thing. That was the system. From separate schools to separate water fountains, just like these, the message was everywhere, and it was loud and clear. Black people were not treated the same as white people. And the official name for this system is, of course, segregation. It was literally the law of the land, enforcing the separation of people based entirely on the color of their skin, in pretty much every single part of public life. So, as you can imagine, young Westley was angry, furious. He just couldn't get his head around why black people were treated this way, why his own mother had to work so incredibly hard and still be poor. But his grandmother, she knew that anger without a purpose is just destructive. She didn't just comfort him, she gave all those feelings a direction. She reminded him of the prayer she had said on the very day he was born, a prayer that landed with this incredible force. And in that one moment, Westley made a promise to himself. He was going to fulfill his grandmother's prayer. He would become a leader. And that private promise, well, it was about to become very public action. As a young man, Westley got to work right away to keep his word. I mean, look at this. By 1942, as part of the NAACP Youth Council, he was already starting voter schools down in a church basement, helping black citizens get through the discriminatory tests that were designed just to keep them from voting. And then, in 1960, a group of students came to him with an idea that would truly change everything. They had been inspired by the sit-ins over in Greensboro, North Carolina, and they wanted to do the same thing at the segregated lunch counters in the department stores right there on Broughton Street. And that memory of how his grandmother was treated at Levy's all those years ago, it just came rushing back. He knew. He had to lead them. But Westley laid down the law. He had one absolute non-negotiable condition. Their protest had to be completely nonviolent. He told the students point blank, "If you get attacked and you fight back, even just once, our entire cause is lost." This was going to be a battle of discipline and of dignity. So for weeks, he trained them. And the rules? They were strict, but they were crystal clear. They had to be dressed impeccably. They had to act with unwavering politeness. And the hardest part, they had to absorb any insult, any provocation, without reacting at all. Their real power was going to be in their peacefulness. And then the day finally came. Small groups of students walked into the stores, including Levy's, of all places, and sat down at the lunch counters. They were, of course, refused service. The manager called the police, and the students were arrested for breaking the city's segregation laws. The battle was on.
Those arrests, well, they were like a spark hitting a powder keg. It just ignited the entire community. What started as a student sit-in was about to explode into a massive, organized economic uprising, the Great Savannah Boycott.
So Wesley called a mass meeting at the Bolton Street Baptist Church, and you have to imagine it. The pews, the balconies, everywhere was packed. The air was just electric. He told them about the arrests, that things had to change, and then he asked a really simple question. Were they ready to fight for their rights?
A voice just shouted out from the crowd, and then something amazing happened. People started throwing their levies charge cards down from the balcony, just tossing them into a big pile. It was this powerful, symbolic moment of cutting ties. They were all in.
On March 17, 1960, the boycott began. And get this, for a year and a half, 18 long months, the Black community of Savannah held strong. This wasn't just about protesting for a day. This was about sustained economic pressure and incredible personal sacrifice. They put up with daily insults and violence on the picket lines, but they never, ever fought back, just like Wesley taught them. They just held the line.
And the financial impact? Oh, it was undeniable. The white store owners found out very quickly they could not survive without their Black customers. This number, 5, represents the real power of their unified action. One day, walking down Broughton Street, Wesley just counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 going out of business signs. The peaceful protest was working.
So after 18 months of this unwavering, peaceful pressure, the leaders of the white and Black communities finally came together. A plan was made. The boycott had broken the back of segregation in Savannah.
On a Sunday in September 1961, the community gathered together one more time. Wesley stood up in front of them, his eyes scanning the crowd. He saw the students who had been arrested, their faces just beaming with pride. And right there in the front row, he saw his mother.
And then, in a loud, clear voice, he made the announcement that they had fought so long and so hard to hear. Their triumph was real. The churches, the theaters, the libraries, the restaurants, all public places in Savannah would be desegregated.
And this is what makes their victory so historic. This happened 3 years before the Federal Civil Rights Act made segregation illegal across the whole country. Savannah did it on its own, and it's just this incredible testament to the power of community, strategy, and nonviolent resistance. Westley Wallace Law, the mailman, had delivered more than just the mail. In his own words, he was just delivering justice. And so Wesley's story really reminds us that sometimes a law written down in a book isn't the same thing as justice in our actual lives. It kind of forces us to ask, what does it really take to deliver justice for everyone?
Thanks for joining us for this explainer.